course, was perfectly quiet while we were chatting.
I know. Right? Hello, everyone.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
everyone.
I'm gonna have to let the dog in. Sorry, she is whining.
Oh, yeah. She didn't like the door closed, huh?
No, get in. Right, sorry, we're late. We were just pulling together a few extra exhibits. So we are here today to talk about the story of Lizzie Borden. So Cassidy and myself, we come across an idea by accident where we were going to start a little side piece to give ourselves and everyone else a bit of a break from the Blake Lively circus.
Yes.
And I think we do need it.
Yes.
Yeah. After Subpoena Gate, I think me and you really do need something else.
Yeah. I mean, this morning, the response from Kevin Fritz was so good.
It was.
And I sat down and all I could make myself do was the thumbnail because I enjoy making the art. So I did all that and I was just like, I don't even want to, as brilliant as the motion is, I just didn't feel like making the slides for it yet. I did the thumbnail because that takes me the longest. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to think about something else. And maybe tonight, later, after we do this, I'll feel refreshed and care about Blake Lively again. But
Exactly.
this morning, I just didn't have it. I just didn't have it in me.
No. Well, I was yesterday. The only thing I'm going to say about it myself is I was extremely annoyed with the whole filing yesterday from Isabel Ferreira's lawyer. That was beyond the pale for me. I don't think I've ever been so mad that I've had to put a disclaimer on my own X thread. But this morning with Fritz's filings, both in response to that and to the
and it was brilliant
sanctions one, I feel like my zen has been restored.
Yeah, that's why yesterday when I covered that ridiculousness, I said some of this stuff I don't even want to talk about until I see the response because it made me so mad. And I knew that when and I figured it would be Kevin to respond, and I knew his response was just going to knock it down. But he went like beyond what I could even think of. Like I thought in terms of like fighting all the stuff in there. He's like, this isn't even worth my time. I'm not even going to address most of this stuff. I'm just going to say, and then just to leave it all where it's all going to hang on Blake now.
Yeah,
they're like, we're fine without her stuff, but then Blake can't use it if we can't use it. And that leaves it all in Blake's court. So from here on out, if Blake wants any of Isabel's testimony or discovery that came from her, Blake's going to be the one that's going to have to bring her to the case. And that was just absolutely brilliant. Because as far as for Justin, or no, I didn't even want to say it. As far as for Wayfarer's side, it doesn't sound like Isabel's going to be that great for them anyway. So
no,
it was brilliant. It's like, fine, we don't need her then. But if she doesn't want to do this, then you don't get to use, which is only fair. You can't have somebody give their discovery exclusively to one side. You just can't do that. So it was absolutely brilliant. So it takes away everything that was just reported yesterday, claiming that Justin was bullying her. It's now going to fall completely on Blake if she gets brought in this case. So they can't say Justin did this to her, Justin drug her in, Justin bullied her, Justin manipulated her. Nope. If she comes back in this case, it's exclusively going to be at Blake Lively's behest. And that was more brilliant than I could have ever thought up.
Yeah, it was a masterclass. I enjoyed that.
It was. It truly was. These guys are brilliant. They are exceptional attorneys.
Yes, they are. They really are. I'm quite impressed every time I cover their filings. I mean, they all are in their own way. Even Blake's attorneys, I hate to say, and Leslie Sloan's attorneys, they are good lawyers.
My dislike for them and the meanness that they use.
Yeah.
just
It's
can't see
demeanor
that.
because you know they're doing it deliberately. It's not incompetence. Like whatever this guy who's representing
That was
Isabella
it.
Ferreira put together, that was just 100% incompetence.
Yeah,
Sorry, it was.
it really was. I'm
At
like,
the
"Are you
beach,
really a lawyer? Like, what is this?"
I know. At the beach, yes. Not actually Golden's take on the response was amazing. I love her. I really
Oh,
do
yeah.
love her. But
Oh, I
I
gotta watch.
like that's. I mean, that's a measure. I don't normally get so fired up. She doesn't normally get this fired up either. She's been incredibly calm and balanced. But
Mhm.
that's how bad this was.
But
I
yeah,
can't even articulate how bad it was.
yeah, because she does. There's been times when everybody else is, like, all worked up, and then you go watch her, and she just, like, brings it all back down to the proper level. But
Yes.
I had heard that because when I'm gonna do an episode on something, I don't watch anybody else's until I do mine because I don't wanna be influenced. But then as
No.
soon as I do it, I run straight to her to see what she said to, like, check my facts and make sure I didn't say something, like, terribly wrong.
No,
And
I'm
so
the same. I compare my notes, like I'll do my bit and then I'll go and watch Omar or watch not actually Golden or
Mhm. Little
someone
girl
like Great Little Girl Attorney and see well what are they saying. So I'm quite that's how I do it. I don't read anyone's stuff before I go and do my own
yeah, 'cause
thing.
you don't wanna be influenced.
No,
You know,
no,
I'll go
exactly.
read yours too to check my stuff afterwards.
No.
But, yeah, truly, because 'cause I'm always
I
like,
know. I mean, we all do that with each other. I go and see what everyone's saying. If I've got time, I'll pick one or two people who I'll go and watch their videos. Um, but yeah, it's so this is supposed to be our escape from the trials and tribulations of Blake Lively, and but to give us something to kind of something that we actually enjoy, aside of the law, the legal system that we enjoy.
mhm,
Um, so we, by accident, stumbled into the idea of crimes throughout the time, the infamous crimes, unsolved crimes, historic
mhm,
crimes. We are starting this week with Lizzie Borden. Next week, we've got planned Jack the Ripper.
mhm,
Um, there is a disclaimer, though, that we are using, where possible, um, real crime scene photos in this presentation. And with the more historical cases like this one, it's obviously not too bad because the photo quality is awful. But
mhm.
that is not always probably going to be the case. So I say viewer discretion is advised. um, but I will if some of the I mean I think we'll try and tailor it so they're not like the most horrific photos by any stretch. But these are talking about real crimes, and a lot of the information as well will involve forensic techniques as well.
Mhm,
So, where that information is available. Again, with the historic ones, there's not going to be too much because there wasn't so much of the forensic techniques back then.
mhm.
But
And the photos are all black and white, so
yeah, but there is just so people are aware, there is the potential that they may see some images which they might find a bit distressing. We will try and give a warning about that before we change the slide, so people do have the choice. Like I say, this one in particular, though, because of the age of the crime and the quality of the photos at the time, it's not too bad. I don't think there are images of the bodies, though, in situ, where the parents were murdered. So,
Mhm.
but the quality is not good. um, so we have the mystery of Lizzie Borden. Um, God, bear with us as well because we haven't done this before, so we're finding our feet. So feedback would be great, and any
Yeah.
suggested crimes as well would be great.
Before I forget, when you and I were chatting before we joined the live, you mentioned the tower, and there's those 2 boys. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
When
the
I took
princes in the towers.
Yeah, the princes in the tower, they mysteriously were killed. That would be a good one. But I don't know how much.
It's speculated that they were killed by their uncle, who was King Richard III. And only about a few years ago, 10 years ago, maybe not even that, his body was discovered under a car park. So
yeah,
there's a whole story with that. We can definitely do that one.
That would be a good one. Because I heard that on the first time I went to the tower on a tour, and I've been fascinated with it ever since.
Yeah. No, it's
Sorry, I've interrupted.
No. The UK has a lot of rich history in terms of the judicial process, the crime and punishment, infamous crimes. Like I say, that's why we're doing Jack the Ripper next week, because that's a UK. Until recently, unsolved murder, but we have now got speculated identity.
Yeah.
So for at least one of the murders, I don't think they can really attribute the identity to the other four, but it's a step in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
So where should we start with this one then?
Okay.
So we got the murder of Lizzie Borden. We've been talking a lot when we talk about this. We were talking about the nursery rhyme with that. Do you remember?
Yes. Most of the nursery rhymes when we were kids, even like Ring Around the Rosie, we had no idea how sick they all were. They're all pretty sick.
Oh, I know. So we really need to go back to the start with this one, because we're going to start by looking at River Fall, which is in Massachusetts, in the late 19th century. So I'm going to be largely reading from these slides, which I did write myself, but I haven't come with a pre-prepared script. So the story of Lizzie Borden cannot be understood without examining the society that shaped her. River Falls, Massachusetts, in the late 19th century was a booming textile center where class divisions ran deep, and social standing meant everything. Into the stratified world, the Borden family occupied an unusual position. So they were known for being wealthy, but they were also very frugal with their money, which meant that they were considered respectable, but not quite accepted by the upper echelons of society. So the tension between wealth and social standing would form the backdrop for one of America's most notorious murder cases, revealing the dark undercurrents beneath the veneer of Victorian respectability. And here we have Lizzie Borden. So she was born on the 19th of July in 1860 in Fall River. And her full name is, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to blow this up a bit.
Lizzie Andrew Borden.
Yeah, Lizzie Andrew Borden. So her mother Sarah died when she was 2 years old, and she was raised by her father and her stepmother in a modest house on 2nd Street. When she was 32 years old, she was unmarried but highly active in church affairs, the Women's Christian Temperance Union, and charitable organizations. She presented herself as a model Victorian woman despite whispers about her strong will and ambitions. Behind closed doors, though, she was reportedly frustrated by her father's frugality and her lack of social mobility. She lived in relative comfort but longed for the prestige that her father's wealth could have provided. And that's what they're saying. No, sorry, I was just going to say, and that's what they're saying. The speculated motive was.
Yeah, because I was reading about it. Oh wait, no, I'm trying to distinguish like what I read from your PPT and then the extra stuff I read. But it's here on this thing. What I was going to say. That's what shocked me so much. Because do you guys watch The Gilded Age? Have you ever watched that?
No,
I love that.
haven't.
But it's like this time period, and it really shows even people who had accumulated wealth, if they were newer or depending on where the wealth came from, if it came and it wasn't like from a long family line, there were still they were still distinguished from one another. There was the well-established wealth with good family name. Then there
Yeah.
was newly, yeah. So many different class distinctions, and then you had like this talks a lot about people who were immigrating to the States and they were viewed differently than the rest. There was a lot of class distinction, so it must have frustrated her to have the means to live like that, and then
Yes.
her father refusing. But some of the things I thought that stood out to me about, especially the last slide. So her mom died when she was 2, so she probably didn't really even remember her. And then he
No.
remarried when she was only 5. So, and I thought it was strange that there was this much animosity between her and her stepmom, because normally when it's like this, a child or a motherless child who hi bot hi guys, hi bots, hey all of you bots out there,
I know.
the child is that young and they get a stepmom, especially since they don't remember their mom, they make the stepmom their mother. So to
Yeah.
yeah, now when the father remarries when the kid's a teen, you expect that animosity, and they're like, you're not my mom, and they remember their mom and they love their mom. So I thought, what was this household really like if her mom had been gone from the time of 2, and then this mom had been in the picture, stepmom had been in the picture since 5, but she hated her this much, and also the fact that she was 32 years old and still living at home. That I feel like this was a dysfunctional family, maybe.
Yeah. No. I think I agree with you too.
Mm-hmm.
So here are these. So this is her father Andrew and her stepmother Abby. Andrew Borden was one of Fall River's wealthiest men. He was a self-made businessman who built his fortune through property, banking, and funeral homes, and he amassed approximately £300,000. It says there, so I'm going to go with pounds.
So it'd be even more dollars.
Yeah, it'd be even more dollars, but that's equivalent to £10 million today. I should have Americanized that. Sorry, I
Do it real quick while you go on.
Thank you.
No, it's more.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
despite his notorious frugality, it meant though that the family even lived without indoor plumbing or electricity, which I agree with you. I can see why she is frustrated because there was clearly no need for them to live like that if they have the means. So
Water or electricity.
I know. I mean, well,
If you
yeah,
didn't
no,
want to live in a mansion, that's one thing, but electricity and running water?
yeah.
Yikes. So by the way, that's $13,490,400.
Wow.
You could have running water for that. Electricity. I mean, at least they're running water. Come on.
Oh, yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I suppose, like, yeah, I suppose. So, after the death of Lizzie's mother, Andrew married Abby Durfee Gray in 1865, and the second marriage created simmering tensions in the household. Lizzie and her sister Emma never warmed to their stepmother, reportedly referring to her as Mrs. Borden rather than mother, and family meals were often eaten in uncomfortable silence. So I guess I mean I get what you're saying about at the age that she became the girl's stepmom, you'd think that they would kind of just see her as mom, but
Right.
I don't know. I know people like had friends who have had a stepmom from a early age, but because they weren't like the natural mother and they didn't really have mother instincts, I guess. And I think
Mm-hmm.
kids do pick up on that.
They do.
Especially,
Yeah.
if they've married for the man or they've married for the money, but they didn't really want the kids, but the kids are there.
Mm-hmm. And then she didn't have any of her own kids. So you'd think
No,
that
she didn't.
she would view them like her own kids. So it's
Mm.
yeah, the whole
She
thing's
may
strange.
not. Yeah, she may not have really been a maternal
Right.
type of person, I guess. I don't know. I've seen that with a few like people in my real life, with their step parents. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, and yeah, it does. I did actually make a note there. So yeah, the relationship between Abby and Andrew with Lizzie, that did deteriorate over property disputes and inheritance concerns.
Yeah, because he looks quite a bit older, and
Yeah, he
so he was once he died, the money would probably go to the wife, right? Not to the kids, unless he had set a will up. But maybe
Yeah,
they
it
were
would go to,
afraid
especially
he was.
back then, because women didn't automatically inherit.
Yeah.
You
So
go to the male descendant, but there wasn't one. There was an illegitimate son.
I did see that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was but if I think if you're illegitimate, then
You can't.
back then you weren't included in wills either,
Yeah.
or inheritance rules. So Fall River, a town divided. There's a lot of class division. Fall River's wealth from textile manufacturing created stark class divisions. The mill owners and business elite lived in the exclusive Hill District, while workers crowded into tenements near the factories. There was ethnic tensions. There was a big influx of Irish, French, Canadian, and Portuguese immigrants, which created further cultural tensions with the established Yankee population. Those weren't my words. I don't know if I put in no, I haven't. Nativist sentiment ran high, and immigrants faced discrimination. And then Borden's position. So, despite their wealth, the Bordens lived on 2nd Street in a transitional neighbourhood surrounded by immigrant families. The location was not elite, but it wasn't working class either, and it reflected their ambiguous social standing. Lizzie reportedly expressed disdain for her immigrant neighbours and aspired to live on the hill with Fall River's elite families. These social aspirations and resentments would later factor into theories about motives for her murder. However, after the murder, though, one thing I'll say here is after the murder, she stayed here in this house for some time. I don't think she stayed for the rest of her life, but because she was ostracized. But she did stay in the house for a few years, for some time.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't immediately, when she got the money, she didn't immediately go and move. Yeah, exactly, Sally. Marry well was the only way for women to have financial security back then. That is 100% true. Neil says most women were married by 16 back then to old rich dudes. They were told to look for rich men. Yeah. They were. That's true. So then we've got the murders, and that took place on August the 4th, 1892. So the morning of August the 4th, 1892 was hot and humid in Fall River. And what began as an ordinary summer day would soon become extraordinary, a day of shocking violence that would be seared into American criminal history. The brutal murders that occurred in the Borden home would inspire a macabre nursery rhyme, countless books and films, and endless speculation that continues to this day. The events of this fateful Thursday would transform Lizzie Borden from an unremarkable spinster into one of history's most infamous suspected killers, though the full truth of what happened remains shrouded in mystery. And we have got the photos I give a warning about at the start. On the left is her father, having had his face axed to pieces.
Yeah.
On the right is Abby Borden, her stepmother. She's obviously got, it looks like a cloth or something's been draped over her. It's not the clearest, but they left the father uncovered.
Yeah. Maybe she was wearing one of those big dresses.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it could be actually from this angle. Like I say, it's not the greatest of quality photos, but making the best of what we got. I did say as well that there was a mixture of real kind of photography from the era and AI, and this is AI. Because at the time there wasn't enough photos to fill the slides, so I had to mix it up a little. So yeah, this is not the crime scene, this is just a crime scene. So the morning of the 4th of August began routinely at the Borden household. Andrew left for his morning business rounds while Abby went upstairs to make the guest bedroom. The Irish maid, Bridget Sullivan, washed windows outside while Lizzie was reportedly in the house. Around 9:30 a.m., Abby Borden was attacked as she turned down the bed. The assailant struck her from behind with a hatchet or an axe, delivering 19 devastating blows to her head and neck. She died instantly, face down on the floor between the bed and the wall. Approximately 90 minutes later, Andrew returned home and settled on the parlour sofa for a nap. The killer struck again, delivering 10 to 11 vicious blows to his face and head, nearly obliterating his left eye and splitting his face open. So that's quite a grisly scene, I should imagine.
That would require a lot of strength, I would think. Like,
yeah.
Inside.
Well, actually, there's a little box down here I put as well, where I've made a little note. The brutality of the murders shocked Victorian sensibilities. The attacks were described by the medical examiner as showing tremendous hatred and uncontrollable rage.
And I think from what I was reading, the gruesomeness of it is what made people think, like it said, the Victorian sensibilities, because she was viewed as a Victorian lady. And
yeah.
I hear the dog snoring.
It's my cat. I am really sorry.
Oh, it's a cat?
I've got a cat with like one of those, quite flat faces. So
yeah.
Yeah, so when he's shut up. He is sleeping and he's snoring. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because she was a Sunday school teacher or something, and so they saw her as this lady, and then of course she appears in court, all corseted and with her father's money now, which helped her get good good legal representation, and then she could dress and like really look like a lady, and people look at that and think, oh, there's no way she could do this. It's so horrifying.
No, exactly. Yeah. And that was a lot of the sentiment actually. Yeah, we got the rhyme next. But we do actually come to, the slide does talk about the makeup of the prosecutors, her defense counsel, and the jurors as well, and kind of the Victorian mentality towards women committing these sort of crimes. There was a nursery rhyme which was completely inaccurate.
Yeah,
it was
40 and 41 whacks.
Yeah, it was nowhere near that. Even combined, there wasn't 40 whacks.
No.
But Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. And we've obviously just learned that her stepmother got 19 and her father got either 10 or 11.
Which is still a lot. That's
a
lot.
Massive.
Yeah.
So, and it wasn't her mother, it was obviously her stepmother, but Yeah, so that nursery rhyme, it wasn't accurate by any stretch, but it kind of shows the interest people have in these events still, all these years on. So this macabre
why
nursery.
they turned them into nursery rhymes, I'll never understand.
I know, right?
Why the nursery rhyme?
Right.
Little girls jumping rope saying it. They have no idea what they're even saying.
This macabre nursery rhyme popularized the Borden case but distorted the facts. Abby received 19 blows, not 40, and Andrew 10 or 11, not 41. The murder weapon was more likely to be a hatchet than an axe. Most importantly, Abby was Lizzie's stepmother, not mother. So the rhyme emerged shortly after the murders and has perpetuated misconceptions about the case for over a century. Perhaps most significantly, the rhyme assumes Lizzie's guilt, a verdict the actual justice system did not reach, which is true. Because as much we all speculate, as to her guilt, but at the end of the day, she had a trial and she was found not guilty.
Yeah, they just didn't have evidence, did they?
Yep, exactly. So getting the images for this was interesting. I needed a house.
This layout to the house is very bizarre. How do you walk through each other's bedrooms?
And yeah, you can walk through. Yeah, so obviously AI went nuts. I needed an image of. I couldn't get an internal image of the house, but I needed like an image basically of a layout where all the doors were kind of connecting. You could just walk through each other's room. So I got one, and then I needed like an image of basically of multiple axes and hatchets, and then I needed a maid.
Pretty hot.
Yeah. So that's not the maid; that's just a maid.
And she was 25, from what I read. She was only 25, Bridget.
Exactly. Yeah. So. Firstly, the house at the Borden house at 92 2nd Street had no hallways. Each room opened directly into others, and this created a bit of a maze-like quality where someone could potentially hide or move without being seen. Then there was the weapon. The police found a handleless hatchet head in the basement, clean but with a broken handle. I thought you said it was... Yeah, so the handle had been, that's it. So the handle had been sheared off or had come off. And they found the head of it, which was clean. Despite suspicion, forensic limitations of the era meant that it could never be conclusively linked to the murders. So, hold on. No hallways.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
No, and I do believe it was on both floors. I'm not 100% sure about the downstairs. On the upstairs, there was no hallways at all.
What did Neil say? Oh, the rats will prosecute. They're all saying Blake did
it. Probably. Maid looks a bit like Blake, doesn't she? Or Isabella. So even though they found a hatchet head, they could not conclusively prove that it was used in the murders because it had been cleaned, and back then they didn't have any illuminating fluids, blue lights, or anything like that. And then maid Bridget Sullivan. She was washing windows outside during both murders. She had no screams or unusual sounds, which suggested that the killer knew the house's acoustics or that the victims were taken completely by surprise. The house itself became a silent witness to the crime, its peculiar architecture both concealing the murders and complicating the investigation. Today, the Borden house operates as a museum and bed and breakfast where visitors can sleep in the very rooms where the murders occurred. And I actually had a couple of people message me before we were due to go live and say, "Oh, I've had a tour, or I've stayed in the house, and it was incredibly creepy." So,
Yeah.
and that was really.
Sleep there.
You've been there?
No, I haven't been there. I said I would tour it, but I would not sleep there.
No, well, one person did say she'd slept there, and her sister or someone kept hearing noises and found it incredibly creepy.
No.
I wish
I'd
I'd
want to
been there.
visit in broad daylight and, just see it real quick and then get out of there.
Yeah. Well, I want to go to the front of it and take a photo and then say I've been.
Yeah.
That's what I normally do.
Yeah.
Raffle wants to stay there, but
Brave.
Raffle's quite, braver than me like that.
Braver than me.
Yeah. So the investigation and arrest. As news of the brutal murders spread through Fall River, police faced mounting pressure to solve the case quickly. The savagery of the crimes shocked the community and fear gripped the town. Who could have committed such a horrific act in broad daylight? Was it a random intruder, a disgruntled business associate, or someone closer to home? The investigation would navigate the complex waters of class prejudice, gender expectations, and circumstantial evidence, ultimately leading to a controversial arrest that would divide public opinion and set the stage for one of America's most sensational trials. You've got some transcript, haven't you, of the trial? Is this a good point
of the uncle? Because he was there. I guess he'd spent the night, and then he'd gone out for the day. Yeah, this one.
So this is John V. Morse, and that's the uncle of Lizzie Borden. Go on, and I'll let you walk us through this one because this is yours.
Do you want to read it, or you want me to just?
Or one of us going to do question, and the other one going to do answer.
Yeah. Okay. I'll be
John.
No,
we can do that. Role play. Okay. Okay. So, and I'm Mr. Moody, am I? Okay. I was not expecting this bit, but this could be interesting. Will you give us your name, sir?
What a name. John Vinicum Morse.
Oh my God, I didn't even notice that. Where is your present residence?
South Dartmouth.
Be good enough to give us your age, sir.
About 60. That's funny, he says about.
I know, right? I want to follow up with, are you not sure? Your residence had been in the West.
3 years ago, last April, I came east.
Prior to the time of coming east, had you been a resident of the West a number of years?
Yes, sir.
Did you bear any relation to the first wife of Mr. Borden?
Yes, sir. Oh, wait, where am I? She was a sister to me. Sorry, wrong line.
And you are therefore an uncle of the prisoner and of Miss Emma Borden?
Yes, sir. Oh, the rest is me.
Do you want to keep going, or do you want me to?
By his first marriage, one died many years ago. Emma was the oldest, then came Alice, who is dead, and then came Lizzie. I went to the Borden house on Wednesday, August 3rd. I had visited there 3 or 4 weeks earlier, had not seen Miss Lizzie for 3 or 4 months before that. I arrived at the Borden house about 1:30 August 3rd. I saw Mr. and Mrs. Borden and Bridget, but not Miss Lizzie. I had dinner as soon as I arrived. They had finished. Between 3 and 4 o'clock, I went to Swansea and returned to the house about 8:30 that evening. I rang, and Mrs. Borden let me in the front door. I saw no one except Mr. and Mrs. Borden. With them I sat in the sitting room until a few minutes after 10. Mrs. Borden went to bed first, going up the back stairs. Mr. Borden and I went later. While I was downstairs, I heard someone come in the front door, go upstairs into Lizzie's room, and shut the door. I did not see this person. When I went up to bed, my room was the guest chamber over the parlor. This was the room in which Mrs. Borden was found dead the next day. Lizzie's door was closed when I came upstairs. I slept all night with my door open.
Did you bring with you, Mr. Morse, any luggage, baggage of any kind, bag, or anything like that, of that sort?
No, sir. I got up about 6, dressed, and went down. I did not enter that room again before I left the house. Lizzie's door was closed when I went down. The first person to come downstairs after me was Mr. Borden, and then Mrs. Borden. She came into the sitting room where I remained until breakfast. Mr. and Mrs. Borden ate with me about 7. We had some mutton, some bread, coffee, cakes, that's a big breakfast, etc. There were bananas on the table. I don't know why the bananas are important, which is kind of funny. We were about half an hour at breakfast. All 3 partook of the breakfast and arose from the table together. Mr. Borden went into the sitting room with me. Mrs. Borden was in and out of that room. She was dusting with a feather duster. After that, some 15 minutes before I went away, she went into the front hall. I left the house 15 or 20 minutes before 9. I left by the rear door, the screen door. Mr. Borden came to the door with me. I saw Bridget in the kitchen as I went out. I unhooked the door, and Mr. Borden hooked it after me. When I left the house, I went to the post office, then to Weybasset Street to see my nephew and niece. It's about 1.25 miles distant, and I walked. My nephew was out, but I called on my niece, staying until about 11:20. I returned by the horse car. I want a horse car. Alighting, I want to alight from my horse car, from the car at Pleasant and 2nd Streets and walking to the Borden house. Nothing attracted my attention at first. I went into the backyard to a pear tree, picked up 2 or 3 pears, and ate part of one of them. Sorry. Then I went to the house where someone informed me that something had happened. Something indeed. I went in and saw the body of Mr. Borden. Then I went up the front stairs far enough so I could look under the bed and see Mrs. Borden. This was the bed where I slept the night before. When I had gone up the stairs so that my head was 4 or 6 inches above the floor, I could see her body. I had been told she was there. I had not seen Lizzie at all from the time of my arrival on Wednesday until I returned to the house on Thursday after the murders. When I came back, Mr. Sawyer was at the door, and I think Bridget Sullivan. Dr. Bowen and 2 or 3 policemen were in the house, and I think Mrs. Churchill and Miss Russell.
So, no, I am no longer Mr. Moody. I'm now going to be Mr. Robinson.
Okay.
I have only a few questions, Mr. Morse. If I understand it correctly, on Wednesday afternoon, you arrived at the house about 1:30.
I did.
That was past the dining hour?
Yes, sir.
So you didn't sit at the table at dinner with anybody in the family?
No, sir. They were in the room with me, not at the table.
Mr. and Mrs. Borden?
Yes, sir.
And do you know of your own knowledge who provided the meal that was set before you?
Mrs. Borden brought it in herself.
Did you see Bridget Sullivan there at that time?
I did not.
Did you see her that afternoon?
No, sir.
Did you see her that night after your return?
No, sir.
Then you came there at 1:30 and had your dinner. And how long did you remain after that before you went away?
I think it was nearly 4 o'clock.
You were gone until what time in the evening?
15 or 20 minutes to 9.
And from 20 minutes of 9 until the hour of retiring, you remained in the sitting room with Mr. and Mrs. Borden?
Mrs. Borden didn't remain there a great while before she retired.
Do you know whether they were sick at that time or not?
They were.
Do you know whether Miss Lizzie was or not?
Mrs. Borden told me she was.
As Mr. Moody, he did not see her. Now, as Mr. Robinson, were you told so by Mrs. Borden?
Oh, you're moody again.
Oh, as Moody again. Wait a moment, Mr. Witness, Mr. Witness. I pray your honour's judgment. Am I going to be the judge as well now?
I guess.
The Chief Justice. In the opinion of the court, it will be hearsay evidence. Now back to Mr. Robinson. You have been asked about the breakfast. You three sat round that dining room table there in the dining room practically as it is now.
Yes, sir. I didn't know they were sick. That's the first I heard that.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that. And was the breakfast room furnished about as you see it now?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Morse, generally, how was the table set? That is, what kind of dishes or where were on the table? That was a mouthful.
I think it was whiteware. Whiteware.
As I understand, you had for breakfast mutton and bread and coffee and cakes and bananas.
Yes.
And you do not know, but what you had Johnny cake too?
What is Johnny cake?
I don't know, but I feel an urge to Google it.
I don't recollect about that. Man, these people eat hearty.
I know, very stodgy as well.
Yeah.
I could not eat mutton and cake together.
For breakfast, no less.
I know.
And bread. And whatever these Johnny cakes.
Yeah. I'm going to Google it while I'm reading that. You would not say you did not have. You did not have.
No, sir. Something very important about these Johnny cakes, I guess.
That was the bill of fare, was it?
Yes, sir. Whatever that means.
You and all partook of what was there, as I understood it. I cannot understand this language. I couldn't cross-examine someone under this language.
And see, I was thinking this came from British English. You all partook of what was there. I think
probably did.
You know what I'm thinking? Because when I was reading, they talked about figuring the time of death by stomach contents. So I think maybe they found some Johnny cake in somebody's stomach. Anyway.
Well,
sorry.
we have an answer on the Johnny cake. Just to intervene in this briefly. Johnny cake is also known as journey cake, journey bread, hoe cake, Shawnee cake, or spider cornbread. It's basically like a cornmeal flatbread, which is a type of batter bread. It's an early American staple food. It looks a bit similar to a pancake.
Okay, but
it includes cornmeal in the batter, whereas normal. Yeah.
Wow. So
that's a Johnny cake.
That's a lot of food. How was he able to go out?
We do go the extra mile on this channel.
All the details.
I don't know. I wouldn't have been able to stand.
Yeah.
Right. So you and all partook of what was there, as I understood it.
I think so.
I got to get to that point.
I did not notice what they were eating.
You did not scrimp yourself at all?
No, sir.
Hello?
Are you there? Oh, there. Yeah, I said no, sir.
It was a good, fair breakfast. There's a lot of questions about breakfast here.
Yeah, plenty of it. He must be hungry.
Yeah. Then the next question. It was a good. He's still asking about the breakfast.
This whole page is breakfast.
There was nothing mean or stingy.
No, I don't think there was.
There was nothing mean or stingy about it.
No, I don't think there was. Is my mic not working? Are you not hearing me? Are you there? Did we lose Leanne? Oh, we
Kirsty,
lost
you
her.
there?
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Can everyone hear me?
Now we can. Yeah. Are you there? Did we lose you, Leanne? Yeah, I think we lost Leanne. I don't see her on the... I think we've lost her. Okay. I don't know what to do because this is on her channel, not mine, so I don't have controls here. Leanne is gone, girl. Yeah. I can't even invite her back because it's not my channel. We just did it on hers. Okay, let me let me see if I can. Well, I think I can. Are you guys still hearing me? Some interesting. Okay, I'll go ahead and finish reading. Okay, I will ask you whether you have observed anything in the use of the front door in regard to the spring lock, Mr. Morse. Yes, sir. What is that? Well, if you shut the door hard, the spring lock will catch. If you didn't, it would not. Then if it did not catch, you could open it without any trouble. Push it or turn the ordinary knob and it would come right open. And when had you noticed that? That was after the tragedy. When I first saw Lizzie after entering the house, she was sitting in the dining room. I think there was no one with her. Mrs. Churchill and Miss Russell were in the sitting room, where Mr. Borden was lying on the sofa. There were blood spots on the door leading from the sitting room to the parlor. These stayed there until Sunday, when they were washed off by Miss Emma. Did you notice the officers making any examination of any part of the premises at any time you were there? Yes, I was with them part of the time. Where did they go? Went up in the second and third story. And what did they look at? Looked at everything, I guess. They did? Well, were they thorough about it? I think so. Well, for instance, what did you see them do in the way of making a search? I see them overhauling everything. I unlocked a chest or trunk or something of that kind up in the attic that they couldn't get into. Did they have full opportunity to look about? Yes, sir. Was there anybody there to stop them? No, sir. Did you impose any objection? No, sir. And nobody did? Not that I know of. To your observation, as they went about, they had free search. They had free access to everything. Okay. So Leanne will be back soon? Okay, good. Yeah, I can't access the comments or write in the comments or put her PPT back up or anything. So I have the only things I have are things that I added to it. Oh, I can't add it to the stage. Yeah, I'm real limited what I can do here. So let me know if she can't come back to this, because I don't have her present. Oh wait, I have the one she sent to me. Let me see if I can add that. All right, I'll keep peeking at the chat if she says anything else. If she wants me to just stop and like we can restart from, if she needs to restart a whole new one, if she can't get back to this one. And I don't want to go too far without her, because she did all the hard work of this presentation. All right, it looks like it's loading. Oh, Leanne's back. Good. Okay, no, it's okay. I finished reading the script, and then I was uploading the your presentation because that disappeared with you. So I have the one you emailed to me, so I was putting that up here because yours was gone. I couldn't access it.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. Again, my not for the first time ever my live streaming career. My internet went, and I had to go and use the neighbours. Oh,
well, thank goodness
okay,
for
that. Thank goodness, yes. I mean, they're my parents, so.
Oh, okay. Well, that helps.
It does.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's this is the one you emailed to me. It should be the same, right?
Yeah, it should. I don't know what we got.
I can't. I can't put it. I can't put it onto. There you go.
There we go.
So,
I've forgotten what page we were on.
Let's see.
Because we would. Oh, I know. Here.
Here we go. Yeah.
We were here. Great. Oh, thank you for kind of covering that. I had CJ. Well, I tried to get CJ to rap the last time it happened because there was one with her. She wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I didn't stream this through my account either, so there was really nothing I could do. So, but we had that script up there, so I just finished reading it.
Oh, sorry everyone. Unfortunately, there's a few issues in my area. Okay, so we're talking about now her behavior and the suspicion. So, firstly, the discovery of the bodies. Lizzie claimed to have discovered her father's body on the sofa and called for Bridget. Apparently, she said, "Come quick, father's dead." Somebody come in and killed him.
A bizarre thing to say when you find your dad bludgeoned.
Yeah.
Come quick, father's dead. Somebody came in and killed him.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think that's the bizarrest thing. I think the intense questioning over breakfast in a murder trial really does top that. That was crazy. I've never seen such an interest in such an irrelevant detail.
He had to have been hungry or jealous that those are the kind of.
But it was almost like people like it's like one of those creepy phone lines. And so now, tell me what you had for breakfast. When asked about Abby, Lizzie said she had gone out, though her stepmother's body was already upstairs. I suppose it's reasonable to say she may not have known. You know, if she hadn't seen it, how she might not have just not known.
Right.
I don't find a suspicion in that myself.
Yeah.
Inconsistent statements. So during questioning, Lizzie gave contradictory accounts of her whereabouts during the murders. She claimed to be in the barn looking for fishing sinkers. I thought I said fishing stinkers. Oh, I'm not wearing my reading glasses. I'm sorry, and the writing's really small to me. Eating pears in the yard and ironing.
For 90 minutes. After that breakfast? Oh, maybe she didn't have that breakfast. She wasn't there.
Yeah, true. And ironing all during the critical time frame when the murders occurred.
Now, I read that these inconsistent statements were not actually allowed into the trial for some reason, which is interesting.
That is interesting. That is actually interesting because it's quite literally alibis.
Yeah.
It's quite relevant information. I don't know why they wouldn't have allowed that in.
Yeah. I don't know on what basis.
So the prussic acid incident. I say an incident, but so the day before the murders, Lizzie attempted to purchase prussic acid, which is also known as hydrogen cyanide, from a local pharmacy, claiming she needed it to clean a sealskin cape. The pharmacist refused the sale of this deadly poison. Lizzie later denied the incident entirely. Is it? That's a strong word, isn't it? Incident. She just,
Yeah.
it's like buying alcohol, Can I buy this? No. Okay. I wouldn't have said it reached the level of an incident, but that's just
Imagine
me
just
being a
going
bit.
to the pharmacy though and buying cyanide. Like you could really do
Exactly.
that in a day.
Yeah.
Imagine you go to CVS and say, can I have some cyanide? I have to clean my sealskin cape.
And no one asked if you had a sealskin cape. Do you even own one? Like, all that focus on the Johnny cakes.
And so little questions about this.
Raffle, I don't think we do find out. It's speculated that it's heavy, but I don't think we
Yeah,
find out
to do
how heavy it was. See, that
those
would be
many.
interesting. Could she even lift it?
Yeah, I remember when I was just a kid though. I wasn't grown, but I was a teenager, and my grandpa had an axe, and I thought, oh, this is cool. I'd never seen one before, and I picked it up and I was gonna swing it, and I lifted it like to go up over my head. I could have killed myself, but thankfully it went the right way. But
Yeah.
it just kept going over my back and like came down and whacked me in the back, but it was blade side out. But
Yeah.
it scared me to death because I thought if it had turned or if I had it turned the other way, it probably would have inserted itself into me. But I never wanted to touch one again. But I mean, they're heavy.
Yeah, they
They're
are
heavy.
heavy.
So it was surprising. I think he used it for chickens.
Yeah.
So yeah, Rathful says maybe it was small like a hatchet, but still, like back, the old time stuff was made of really heavy metal.
Yeah, it
So
was.
swing it that many times is
So
that's a lot of strength.
then there was
You'd
the dress
have to
burning,
be-
wasn't there? Sorry?
Yeah, the dress burning too.
Yeah, so 3 days after the murders, Lizzie was observed burning a dress in the kitchen stove. When she was questioned, she claimed it was stained with paint. This destruction of potential evidence greatly increased suspicion against her.
And I
And
found, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and that is like the one thing that makes me have a bit of suspicion here.
Yeah, really. I found more information on that. So Alice Russell, a single pious 40-year-old member of Central Congregation, was Borden's close friend. Shortly after Andrew was killed, Borden sent Sullivan to summons Alice. She slept in the Borden house for several nights after the murders. This is gross. With the brutalized victims stretched out on mortician boards in the dining room. That's gross. Russell had testified at the inquest, the preliminary hearing, and earlier before the grand jury, but she had never disclosed one important detail. Distressed over her omission, she consulted a lawyer who said she had to tell the district attorney. On December 1st, Russell returned to the grand jury. She testified that on the Sunday morning after the murders, Borden pulled a dress from a shelf in the pantry closet and proceeded to burn it in the cast iron coal stove. The grand jury indicted Borden the next day. So it was even more suspicious than that. But how did they not find it in a closet the night that they searched? Because in that part, it was while you were disappeared. In the questioning, the uncle describes that they searched the house very thoroughly, even going into the attic, and he had to help them open a trunk. So I don't know how they missed a dress in a closet.
Well,
So,
yeah, exactly. I mean, I think this is where this case really gets you, like, because it maybe it did get covered in paint, like days afterwards, and because it's she wasn't arrested and taken into custody immediately like you would be today. If she's able to be burning the dress in her kitchen stove 3 days later, she was still at home. It's plausible that she genuinely did just get paint on the dress. And it was unrelated. Because this is why I love these cases, because it gives you it really does make you ask questions and want to know more. But there's just not too much of the information available now. There's I'm gonna have to blow my screen up. Oh no, I'm running away with myself now. Sorry for all the technical difficulties today. Social bias and the police investigation. The initial police investigation reflected the prejudices of 1890s America. The first suspect was a Portuguese immigrant farmhand who had come to the Borden house seeking work the day before the murders. This reflected the nativist sentiment prevalent in Fall River, where immigrants were often scapegoated for crimes. When suspicion turned to Lizzie, investigators faced a dilemma. Victorian gender expectations made it difficult for many to believe a woman of her social standard could commit such violent acts. As a church-going unmarried daughter of a prominent businessman, Lizzie benefited from these biases. Despite this, mounting circumstantial evidence, her presence in the house, the attempted poison purchase, her destruction of a dress, and her contradictory statements led to her arrest on the 11th of August. So it was a week later that she was arrested. The Fall River police faced criticism for their handling of the crime scene. Now, apart from the 2 photos of the bodies in situ, they took no photographs, and they failed to secure the area properly and allowed contamination of potential evidence. So
I found some more on that. That does remind me of Blake. Borden's arrest provoked an uproar that quickly became national. Women's groups rallied to her side. I wonder if they wrote amicus briefs. Especially the Women's Christian Temperance Union and suffragists. Borden supporters protested that at trial she would not be judged by a jury of her peers, as women did not have the right to serve on juries. Borden's upper-class status benefited her throughout her ordeal. During the preliminary hearing, one of Boston's most prominent defense lawyers joined the family attorney to advocate for her innocence. The small courtroom above the police station was packed with Borden supporters, particularly women from the Hill. At times, they were buoyed by testimony. For example, a Harvard University chemist reported that he found no blood on 2 axes and 2 hatchets that police retrieved from the cellar. 2 days after the murders, Borden had turned over to the police the dress she allegedly wore on the morning of August 4th. It had only a minuscule spot of blood on the hem. Now that part I thought was interesting, because if it wasn't the dress she wore that day, how did it get blood on it? And so, yeah, I don't know. Well, it could be the dress she put on after she finished the murders, because one of the theories is that she did it naked. So, which I kind of find hard to believe of that time period, but
yeah, that's possible.
Yeah,
that's possible. I do think, though, if I'm being really honest, an opinion here is, had there been women on the jury, I think the outcome would have been different. I think women know and recognize problematic behavior in other women particularly well.
better than man can.
Yeah, because I mean, there's plausible explanations for all of this circumstantial information, evidence that's there, and through training I would automatically go, okay, that's plausible. But I think a lot of women would sort of like, especially the burning of a dress. Women don't just burn dresses.
Yeah, even if you get paint on it, they would sometimes like scrap them and redo something with them,
Yeah.
patchwork quilt or something like that. It wasn't such a
or
weird
duster even.
society as it is today. Why burn it? Why not throw it out or donate it? Or wouldn't the maids take those things and use the fabric for other stuff for themselves? I
Exactly,
feel
and Rathbell's right. Rathbell makes a great point here. I mean, it could have been that they killed an animal for their dinner or something,
yeah, because they
because that's how they lived. They
wouldn't
were frugal.
Yep. Wouldn't have
Um,
been able to distinguish the blood if they didn't have that kind of testing.
well, exactly. So the trial that captured the nation. But I do want to put this up, right? Because you brought this in. This is a sketch artist depiction of Lizzie Borden at her trial.
Yeah, from someone sketched it from the actual trial. So this is their court TV. Court
See,
TV.
if CJ was here, right, she'd be going wild with it. She loves, like the artist, the
This is an amazing sketch.
yeah, it's really good. She loves all this stuff. She was really did a whole thing on the sketch artist work from the Diddy trial. But it's genuinely fascinating that someone, because they're not sitting still and posing. So the work that goes into this is really quite impressive.
It is. Yeah. So we'll have sketches like this of Blake.
Yeah.
Because it won't be televised.
I don't know. She want authorship of it. So the trial that captivated a nation. Yeah, Neil, you could make really good money from drawing back then because pictures were expensive. Definitely. So the trial of Lizzie Borden became America's first media sensation criminal case. Newspapers across the country sent reporters to Fall River, and daily updates captivated readers from Boston to San Francisco. The courtroom in New Bedford overflowed with spectators eager to glimpse the woman accused of such horrific crimes. For 12 days, in June 1893, the nation watched as prosecutors presented their circumstantial case against the woman whose gender and social position made her an unlikely murderer in the eyes of many. The trial would become a testament to the power of social bias, the limitations of 19th century forensics, and the media's growing influence on public perception of justice. And we know all too well about the media's influence on the public perception of justice.
Yeah.
But this would have also been a big deal. This would have garnered a lot of interest just purely for the fact that it was a woman on trial, because that was not an everyday occurrence back then.
I didn't realize they only allowed men on the jury.
Yeah. Women couldn't vote, they couldn't serve on juries, they weren't allowed to qualify as lawyers.
Wow.
So everything was very male dominated. So
it helped if you were a murderer. But
yeah, it helped if you were a murderer. For everything else, it held you back. But exactly, Christina, we did not have rights. That is very true. And when we say that, we mean that in the literal sense as well. Women did not have rights back then. That's not a whimsical complaint, or that's not overstating a situation. That was actually a thing.
You can show the jury picture that I added too.
Oh yes, this is the jury. They all look alike.
Actually took a picture of the jury.
Yeah.
It looks like some men's club, doesn't it? Look at those mustaches.
I know. Neil, that still happens today. They had it very hard back then, but
Mhm.
women being beaten and shouted at for nothing by their alcoholic husbands is still very much a today problem.
Mhm.
Hence the whole,
There's a lot more killing of wives because
oh yeah.
because because we can fight back now. They don't want that to happen.
So channeling your in-betweeners, yes, briefcase wankers.
Neil must be British as well, right?
Neil is Welsh.
Oh, Welsh. Okay. I
Yeah,
knew it had to be.
Neil comes from the same, well, comes from only a few miles away from where I actually come from.
Oh,
So,
okay. Yeah, I'm like we don't know that word here usually. I learned
oh,
it
do you
from
know?
Ted Lasso, I think. Yeah. I just
Oh,
learned it. I've heard it all my life and because I watch a lot of British TV, but I never knew what it meant. And finally I was watching I think it's Ted Lasso and they said
yeah.
it and I was like, "All right, I'm finally going to get down to the bottom of this what this word means." Yeah. And then I found out and then I wished I didn't know.
Yeah, I'm really sorry, Raffle.
It
Oh,
sounds so funny. It doesn't sound awful, but it is.
Bore Neil. That means good night in Welsh. We are now speaking
Oh,
Welsh.
okay.
We keep descending into Welsh language on my channel. I remember when I think it might have been, it was either you or Aiko, and I was like playing a little YouTube video of like someone teaching you how to say the world's longest train station, which is Welsh. I'm pretty sure, I feel like it was Aiko. I don't know. Anyway, yes. So this is the jury, right? 12 identical men, basically. Every one of them's got a moustache. Moustache was such a thing, weren't they? And like really big, bushy, long ones as well. Just out of curiosity. But that's me being fascinated. Okay. So what we had here, the 1893 trial, drama and doubt. There was 12 days of testimony. The trial was remarkably brief. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to grab my own slides because I think Cassidy has lost connection and has taken her slides with her. I'm hoping she'll join us back. But I'm going to keep going. So there's 12 days of testimony. The trial was remarkably brief by modern standards, lasting less than 2 weeks, despite its complexity and national attention. There was zero direct evidence. Cassidy's back. Awesome. Hello.
This time it was me. I was going, did I lose Leanne again? And then I could see you were still on there. So I thought, okay, here we go. It was
Welcome
me.
back. So
Sorry.
I was just reading this little thing. I was just saying. So there was 12 days of testimony in the trial, which is quite short given the complexity. It was less than 2 weeks. There was zero direct evidence. There was no murder weapon was conclusively identified. No bloodstained clothing was found, and no eyewitnesses placed Lizzie at the scene during the actual murders. And that's kind of important because, you know, in a criminal trial, a murder case like this today, you would need that kind of evidence.
Mm-hmm. There isn't even really good circumstantial evidence.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of circumstantial, but I can see why they couldn't convict her because there was nothing to kind of take it over the, you know, beyond reasonable doubt threshold. That's the beyond reasonable doubt is obviously the UK, but I think the American, I haven't done the criminal side of things, but you kind of have the similar threshold, don't you? You have quite a high, you know, you've got to be able to prove conclusively that someone committed a murder to convict them. Cassidy? Okay, I'm going to keep going. Yeah, we've lost her again. Sorry, guys. So there were 108 witnesses, which is incredible because I don't think there were 108 people in the house. But the prosecution and defense called a combined total of 108 witnesses from household members to medical experts attempting to establish the time of death.
I just realized I forgot to turn my VPN off. that always messes with my thing, so it should be okay now. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. So thank you, Sally. So yes, it is the same standard of proof. I was just speculating. I was asking you, over in the UK, you've got to prove for a criminal conviction, especially for murder, you've got to prove beyond reasonable doubt, which is a high bar. So you do need something that directly ties you to, in this case, a murder, to be convicted of it. And I'm guessing that in America, it's the same bar.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so I can see why she wasn't she was acquitted in the end,
right?
Because there just wasn't the direct. There was nothing direct.
Yeah, and even the circumstantial wasn't even that great because there's in the Morse testimony, he talked about the door. If you didn't close it hard, the lock wouldn't latch.
I just covered the 108 witnesses. Just Khaleesi. This is awesome. Well done.
With by Ezra's
by probably.
Or was it Gottlieb? Great.
Oh my goodness. It was 90 minutes. So the jury deliberated for just 90 minutes, which is very quick, before reaching their verdict, suggesting they found the prosecution's case fundamentally lacking, which is what I've just said. Like there's some circumstantial, even the circumstantial is not that strong in reality, but there was nothing direct, and without direct evidence that ties that person to that murder, especially because, and in America still got a lot of the death penalty, but even back then, you had even more, the death penalty was used even more. So when you've got that kind of a penalty at the end of the conviction, you've got to be, in theory, in an ideal world, you've got to be sure of your case. And I think if there is doubt, it is better to let someone someone guilty go free than to, hang or put an innocent person in an electric chair or whatever methods they were using. That's just my approach. We don't have the death penalty anymore here. I can't say I'm disappointed by that. Sorry?
Here it's state to state. Very few states still have it. There's a few down south that do. South Carolina is one that still does.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many. I can Google that while you're talking real quick.
Do you know, I've got a set of slides lined up. So we've already got in the plan Jack the Ripper for next week, right? But probably the week after, I'm thinking all the week after, I've got a month's worth of this stuff all ready to go.
Oh,
but
wow.
One of the murders, I know, one of the murders I've got is Dr. Crippen, right? Which is a UK case. But in that, the Dr. Crippen was a neighbor of a woman, and he murdered her. But it was her husband who was wrongfully convicted and hanged. And you see when you hear that story in its full glory, you see why actually it is a good thing that we don't have the death penalty. It's for British society. It's not
in the
right.
States too. There's been so many that were wrongfully put to death. I think that's why a lot don't want. I'm shocked. It's still 27 states. I thought it was less than that. I am truly shocked.
No, exactly. So the prosecution's case rested entirely on circumstantial evidence, which proved insufficient against Victorian-era assumptions about feminine capability for violence. And I think that's fair. Lizzie's calm demeanour throughout the trial, which some interpreted as cold-bloodedness, was seen by others as dignified innocence in the face of false accusation. And again, it's possible because there were other potential perpetrators here that could have done this, which is in this.
Yeah, there's even a guy. Did you hear about the guy in the woods about with blood on his clothes and a hatchet or an axe or something? Is it in yours? I can't remember what I read from yours or what I read on the side.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember because I haven't looked at it since yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And I had to deal with an avalanche of filings this morning. I can't remember actually if I put it in here. I had to take some of it out because otherwise I was going to be here forever. There was a lot of information. I had to take a little bits and pieces out. We'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll find out together.
Oh, here we go. So it's a wild man theory. So if we don't come across it in your slides, I can read it from mine.
Fab. Yeah, we'll do that because they do speculate on other people when we get to that. If it's not in there, we'll use what you've got. Okay, so key trial moments. There was inquest testimony exclusion. In a crucial ruling, the judge excluded Lizzie's earlier inquest testimony, which contained numerous contradictions, as inadmissible because she hadn't been properly informed of her rights against self-incrimination.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so I guess Americans call that pleading the fifth. Is that? But here it's the right to remain silent. That has kind of been turned on its head now. It used to be that you had the right to say nothing and nothing negative could be inferred from that. Now it's actually been turned on its head and it's you have the right to remain silent. However, if you have information to defend that, for your defense or, to prove that you did not do whatever you were alleged to have done and you don't impart that at the earliest opportunity, then negative inferences can be now drawn from that. So, we turned it around. Because it's fair enough, have the right to remain silent, but if you're accused of, if you're under suspicion of something, and you can say, well, no, actually, I wasn't here, I wasn't in the country, or no, I was at this person's house, here's the details, you can go and verify my alibi. If you don't give that kind of information up at the earliest opportunity, and you don't help yourself, then you can't use it as a defense.
Oh, wow.
So, which I think is the right way to do. I'm sorry, I will say that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But I am all for you still have the choice to stay silent though. But if you say stay silent and then they find something, you can't then sort of say, well, I meant to tell you about that, but I didn't.
I think it could go a long way in ruling out the liars.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, sorry, that was me. So I think this is a fair point. She does need to be, people do have to be properly informed of their rights. And I've seen, various arrests and convictions overturned purely for those technicalities. And they are technicalities, but they are rights. So they're incredibly important. People need to know the consequences of what they are saying. Bridget Sullivan's account, the Irish maid. Why did for some reason you keep saying the Irish maid? So the Irish maid's testimony established the timeline, but couldn't place Lizzie at either murder scene. Her inability to hear any disturbance while outside washing windows raised questions about the house's unusual acoustics. And then medical evidence. Experts testified about the victim's stomach contents to establish time of death, placing both murders during a period when Lizzie claimed to be in the house. However, The defense challenged the precision of these findings. I guess that's all the questioning about breakfast.
Breakfast. That's what I was thinking.
I'm really, really interested in that. I might do a little deep dive into what was the fascination with the breakfast. Aside from lamb, no one has lamb for breakfast.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
So the prosecution's case was further hampered by a ruling that prevented them from introducing evidence about Lizzie's attempt to purchase prussic acid the day before the murders. This key piece of potentially incriminating evidence never reached a jury. Okay. My thoughts on that, though, are I'm not entirely sure that it is relevant.
Yeah,
And
it
it
could
could
go
have
either
been
way.
prejudicial.
Yeah.
Because she could have genuinely been, seeking to purchase it to clean, I don't know,
Yep.
what did you say, like a seal skin or something? But
In Cape said,
yeah,
is cyanide a cleaner? I don't know what they use cyanide for.
I mean, back then they used all kinds of weird things, didn't they? That's just it. Like, you've got to remember the era as well. So, without further research, it at this point I'd say it's plausible, but the Bordens were killed with an axe, not prussic acid. But she only attempted to buy it. I don't know how much you can infer from that without it, if it did turn out to be harmless, that could have been prejudicial. So I can see why it was kept out. Oh, I nearly pressed the wrong button. So the verdict.
Metal clean. She should have said she had to clean the ware.
True. The ware.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't look like it's used for that. From what I'm reading, it does not look like it's used for that.
It is
So
true.
if you don't use it for that, I think then it would be relevant.
There's a Christina says so they put radium in makeup, and back in the era of Elizabeth I, her very, very white looking skin came from mercury being put in makeup.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff was put in makeup. But that's a very good point. So after just 90 minutes of deliberation, the all-male jury returned with their verdict on 20th of June 1893, not guilty on all counts. As the foreman announced the decision, spectators in the courtroom erupted in applause. Lizzie herself showed little emotion, maintaining the same composure she had exhibited throughout the trial. The acquittal, however, did not end Lizzie's ordeal. Though legally exonerated, she faced a different kind of sentence: social ostracism. Fall River society largely turned its back on Lizzie, and she found herself increasingly isolated. Which, if she really was innocent, that is a shame.
Mm-hmm.
I think she just lost her parents. Yeah, I find that quite a shame if she really was innocent.
Mm-hmm.
Within weeks of her acquittal, Lizzie and her sister Emma used their inheritance, approximately £7 million in today's value, to purchase a grand house in the fashionable Hill district of Fall River. They named it Maplecroft and lived there in relative seclusion. The sisters' relationship eventually deteriorated, with Emma moving out in 1905, reportedly over Lizzie's friendship with actress Nance O'Neill. O'Neill?
O'Neill,
Lizzie, O'Neill. Lizzie lived alone at Maplecroft until her death from pneumonia in 1927, aged 66, never having married or been tried again for the murders. You wouldn't be tried again, though, would you? Because that
no.
would be double jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why that's in there. Yeah. So, and the Emma and Lizzie only died. They died only a few days apart.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they never spoke to each other again, but they died within days of each other. Legacy and cultural impact. Long after the verdict and Lizzie's death, the Borden case continues to fascinate the public and influence American culture. The sensational nature of the crimes, combined with the ambiguity of the evidence and the gender dynamics at play, has made the case a fertile ground for artistic interpretation and historical re-examination.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Leanne again? Is it me, or am I still here? There we
I'm
go.
here. I don't
I'm
know
like,
what is going
was it
on.
me or you?
Oh
There
my
we go.
goodness. Sorry, I do not know what's going on with StreamYard tonight. Last time it did this, it got hacked, didn't it?
Oh, I heard just a little about that. That you weren't
Yeah,
gone long. You were back really quick.
I was in the middle of a stream with Mandy Magnan, and yeah, it turned out we ended the stream, but then it just wouldn't. It was just sitting there, not kind of, when after you end it, it goes to YouTube and it becomes like a video on there that you can go back and see. But it didn't leave StreamYards, and we were like, what? But right, where was I? From folk crimes to Hollywood films, from academic analysis to paranormal investigations, the Borden murders have become more than a historical event. They have transformed. Oh God, where am I going? They have transformed into an American legend that reveals our cultural preoccupations with violence, gender, justice, and the dark possibilities that may lurk beneath respectable surfaces. Interesting fact. So here on the left, we've got film and television. One of the films, The Legend of Lizzie Borden, was a 1975 film which starred Elizabeth Montgomery. And people might remember Elizabeth Montgomery from Bewitched, the old series of Bewitched with the nose that twitches her nose, the witch that twitches her nose. Do you remember that?
I think maybe.
So it's quite cutesy. It is. It's like an old comedy series. Elizabeth Montgomery played Lizzie Borden, though, in this film, The Legend of Lizzie Borden. Right. I'm sorry. I'm having a complete meltdown. Oh. Yeah. Elizabeth Montgomery played the part of Lizzie Borden in the 1975 film. Yes, Clara, favorite show, Bewitched. Yeah, it was a great show. What a lot of people don't know is Elizabeth Montgomery was actually a distant cousin of Lizzie Borden. They were like
you told me that.
sixth cousins or something like that. It was they were actually, after Elizabeth Montgomery died, it was discovered that she was distantly related to Lizzie Borden.
She didn't know when she was making the film?
She had no idea.
Wow.
It's pretty amazing. There have also been more recent productions, one in 2018 called Lizzie with Chloe Sevigny, which are said to have reimagined the crimes and their motives.
I remember one with Christine Ricci, or however you say her name.
Yes, she was. She played the part too. Yes, that's very true. So, and then obviously on the right we've got the Borden House. That now operates as a museum and a bed and breakfast, where guests can sleep in the rooms where the murders occurred, making it a popular dark tourism destination. And as I said earlier, a couple of people actually messaged me and said, "Yeah, I did that. It was really creepy." So
it's a big house.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good sized house.
It's right. It's not modest. But everyone's now talking about MASH, the Dick
Nick at
Van
Night.
Dyke Show. What have we
Remember Nick
started? Nick at Night.
Yeah. It's Nickelodeon channel. It's a kids channel.
Oh,
Yeah, but they would have I forgot what time it would switch to old TV shows.
yeah, like Dick Dastardly and Johnny Bravo and things like that. Hong Kong
Yeah.
Food.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those
I
are the
used to watch that
cartoons.
too.
Yeah. And then it would at a certain I forgot what time it would switch from kid stuff to old TV shows.
Yeah, I used to watch that when I was a bit younger. When we got Sky, like satellite, then
Mhm.
we were able to get that channel. The enduring cultural fascination with Lizzie Borden represents more than a mere interest in historical crime. It reflects ongoing societal tensions around gender expectations, hidden rage, and the potential for violence beneath the veneer of respectability, themes that continue to resonate in contemporary discussions.
Mhm.
The mystery endures. The Brady Bunch.
Oh, I love the Brady Bunch.
Right, I'm going to try
It's
and.
so weird when you're a kid and you're watching these old shows, and then one day your mom tells you those people are old now because you think they're still kids, and then you find out they're like 50 or or like the Little Rascals, they were all dead. It's very
Oh my
devastating.
goodness, yeah. So, despite 130 years of investigation, debate, and speculation, the Borden murders remain officially unsolved. I'm now losing my sight here. No one else was ever charged with the crimes, and the case was never reopened after Lizzie's acquittal. Modern forensic techniques applied to the limited evidence descriptions from 1892 have yielded inconclusive results. Blood spatter analysis suggests the killer would have been covered in blood, yet no blood-stained clothing belonging to Lizzie was ever found supporting her innocence. Alternative theories have emerged over the decades. Some suspect Bridget Sullivan, the maid, who may have harbored resentment over her working conditions. Others point to Lizzie's sister Emma, but Emma wasn't actually in the house. She was
No,
staying away on the day, so I don't
no.
accept that. William Borden, he was an illegitimate son of Andrew, or John Morse, the maternal uncle
Who
who,
had breakfast?
if we had breakfast,
He had
who
to have been
visited.
he was too full to do that. Had to.
No, it ain't. Yeah, so there were alternative suggestions. Did Lizzie commit the perfect crime, or was she the perfect scapegoat for someone else's brutality?
The blood spatter it does that's the one thing that does seemingly exonerate her, because if today's forensic experts say she would have been covered, she was in a house without running water. So I
Mm,
think there would have been more than just a bucket of blood. And the doctor did confirm that she was having her period. So
mm.
yeah, like how would she have gotten it washed out of her hair? Off
Oh,
of all
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I think there is a lot that also supports her innocence.
Yeah.
I mean, people
I'm
can give
trying to
different
get
accounts. They could be confused. It could be the way the question's been asked.
mhm.
There could be something that they just remembered that they didn't, they didn't remember the first time
Mhm.
they were asked. There are so many reasons why people change their accounts.
Yeah. I wish we knew more about what Lizzie's relationship with her father was like.
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
she have reason to want him gone too, or just the stepmother Whoever killed him seemed to have hated the stepmother more because simply because she was hit more times. But I don't know, maybe with the guy face up, it was easier to see he was really dead.
Well, that's what my thinking was, because she was moving and actually actively doing something. He was asleep on the chair. I feel like, maybe the few extra hits would have been to make sure she was dead. Where that wasn't felt necessary, because even though he's asleep, and for someone who's sleeping, 10 hits to the face with an axe is still.
Yeah, it was direct to his face.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
The most tantalizing aspect of the case remains the absence of a clear motive for anyone to commit such violent acts, and the possibility that the truth died with Lizzie Borden in 1927. Did you want to come in with your
Oh, the farmer.
Yeah.
The wild man theory. Okay,
Yeah.
so it
Christina, yeah, that's a really good point. Possible. We don't know. I mean, I think forensics were done on the stomach contents, and at that time they were able to identify poison. So I think it would have said in the medical report.
Yeah. So it says that several witnesses stepped forward to talk about things that they had witnessed. So 2 men that lived nearby said that they had seen a man sitting on the sidewalk close to the home the night before the crime. They tried to speak to him. He didn't respond, but he didn't appear drunk. 2 other townspeople saw a pale young man who had a strange air to him near the home. One woman said she saw him leaning against the gatepost the day of the murders. So if there were other suspicious people around, you can understand why she wasn't convicted beyond a reasonable doubt. So the wild man theory, it was 12 days. Uh-oh, did we lose Luann? Or
No,
Leanne?
I'm here.
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, you just closed it. I see. So a farmer said he was in the woods, but it was 4 miles outside of town, so not super close, but it was 12 days later. And he heard the man say, "Poor Mrs. Borden." He was repeating it 3 times. Poor Mrs. Borden. The farmer, who only spoke French, attempted to speak to him but received no response. Then the man picked up a hatchet that he had next to him and shook it at the farmer. The farmer shook back his own axe.
Let's all go shaking axes at each other.
Which prompted the mysterious man to jump over a wall and disappear into the woods. When he fled, the farmer noticed specks of blood on his shirt and immediately contacted police about the bizarre incident. So after hearing all of this, the jurors were told the next day to discard this testimony as it was too far after the murder, but it's impossible to truly unhear something as interesting as a hatchet-wielding man in the woods. Some people believe that this wild man theory played a large role in Lizzie being found innocent.
Yeah.
He shook his axe at me. Yeah, I thought that was funny.
Just Khaleesi, yeah, there was a musical on it. I think that was the rendition of Lizzie with Chloe Sevigny. That's a musical. Marie says an axe measuring contest.
It's a really, really strange thing to hear.
So last slide now. I think this is slide. Yeah, it is. So the conclusion: the woman, the myth, the legend. There is historical significance. The Borden case reveals the fault lines of Gilded Age America, tensions between classes, generations, and genders that still resonate today. It exposed limitations in early forensic methods and highlighted how social bias influences justice. Again, that's still an issue today. And that's not just in America. That happens in many countries. Mm-hmm. Enduring questions: was Lizzie a cold-blooded killer who exploited gender stereotypes to escape justice? Was she the victim of circumstance and suspicion? Or does the truth lie somewhere in the shadowy middle ground that history cannot fully illuminate? And then cultural mirror. Our continued fascination with Lizzie Borden reflects our own cultural preoccupations. Each generation reinterprets her story through contemporary lenses of feminism, psychology, and criminology, finding new meanings in this Victorian mystery. As we close this examination of the Borden case, we are left with more questions than answers. And that's true. That's true. Exactly as generations before us have been. Perhaps that is the true legacy of Lizzie Borden, not the certainty of guilt or innocence, but the enduring power of mystery to captivate the human imagination.
I wonder what happened to the money.
Oh, she spent it. And at the end when she died, she gave it to animal charities as well, which some people did find that they weren't expecting that, because there is rumors that she was not particularly pleasant to animals in her younger life. She was quite cruel to them. So, but she left what was left of what she had left when she died went to animal sanctuaries and charities. So, I don't know. What do we think? Do we think she's innocent or guilty?
Personally, I think it looks more towards guilt, but I wouldn't be able to say. I wouldn't feel okay to, if I were a juror and this is all the information I had. I don't think I could convict her beyond a reasonable doubt. Even though I think there's a lot that says that she was guilty, but I don't think there's enough to know conclusively. Just because the lack of the blood and the fact that the house had no running water. Because that, to know that modern day forensic experts say she would have been covered, she couldn't have washed her hair and dried it and then bathed herself and got rid of walked through the house without getting any footprints or fingerprints of bloody fingerprints or footprints. It's I don't know, it's strange.
See, that's the case for anyone. What did go upstairs had to come downstairs.
That's what I just thought as I was saying it. How were there not bloody footprints?
Yeah. It is crazy. It is crazy. But this is why these cases are so interesting. Because you probably would have had an answer, because, like I say, they would have, put the oh god, I can't remember. It's on the tip of my tongue. Lysol, luminol, something.
Luminol, yeah.
Yeah, luminol, Lysol. They would have used that and turned the lights up and had the blue light and everything, and then you would have seen what was cleaned and had forensics there, and today I think the murder would have been solved. I think we would have had a conclusive convict, like a suspect at least, but back then it was nigh on impossible, and there were stereotypes and she didn't kind of fit the profile. And criminal profiling is very important. It plays a big part in criminal investigations, like the kind of the look of the person and the expectations. But it's not all about the forensic evidence and what CCTV picked up. There's a lot that goes into a criminal investigation.
Now, I don't know how true it is, but one of the other things I read was that the maid was that Lizzie supposedly gave her a sum of money and told her to go back to Ireland, but instead she went to Montana. I don't know where that came from, if it's reliable. I'm trying to find where. Which article said that, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think we can say for certainty either way with this little bit of.
Oh, Raffle saying, I think I heard that too. I don't know, is that to Cassidy or is it to something in the chat?
About the, maybe. I'm trying to find it.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of theories, isn't there? And that's part of the fun of this. Oh, about the maid? Yeah, it was about the maid.
Okay. And from how they described her size-wise, they said that they didn't think she looked big enough strong enough to have had the physical strength, in addition to the moral degeneracy.
And that's it, right? Because when you look at this, you dissect it down a bit, and you do ask questions. Like, one of the things that's important to know is that there were 19 blows, and these are the blows that landed, because there may well have been a few extra blows which missed entirely.
Mm-hmm.
So from a forensic standpoint, the first murder was 19 blows. Well, not too long after, that would have been exhausting for someone who wasn't, physically fit enough, to wield an axe with enough force to do that kind of damage to someone.
And then 90 minutes later.
Yeah, and then 90 minutes later, then you're doing the same thing again, another 10, 11 times. However, on the other
dad's face, I don't know.
Well, on the other hand, yeah, the woman would have been exhausted, exactly. However, then, was so many hits, I mean, we don't know. See, this is the bits I like, right? Is how deep was each cut? If it wasn't too deep, then actually that does support, though, it was more likely to have been a woman than a man, because you would need the extra blows then, to like nearly 20 blows, potentially, to have, mortally wounded someone. And maybe that might explain the lack of, I don't know, not entirely, but like why there wasn't as much blood, getting everywhere. Was if they were not so deep, because they were, yeah. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I do, but then I feel like if the first several blows weren't that strong, she would have been screaming and could have fought back.
Although the weight of the axe head just hitting your head, even without cutting into your face or your head, would have likely, knocked you out.
That's true.
Because it's a great big lump of metal. And also, like, I don't know, though, because some of these wounds were to the neck as well. And if you hit in the jugular or the carotid,
it's seconds.
I would imagine there would be, like, blood everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
You see, without the autopsy report to look at where the blows actually landed, and there's no images of the blood spatter or anything, or it's really hard. Like, so you kind of having to think about these things with your mind. Like, well, yeah, I would expect to see this and this and this, but we don't actually have the information on it. So all we're doing here now is really speculating. But that's the fascinating bit of this case, I think. It's like all the scenarios you can think about in your mind.
It just gets you thinking.
It really, yeah, it does. Because I even if she, I mean, how do you open the doors or walk through with your hands? They've got blood on them. The blood must have been on the axe. Must have been then going down the handle. And also, Where was the axe handle?
Dripping. Yeah. Dripping as you went down the stairs, because one was killed upstairs, and you gotta presumably bring the same axe with you or hatchet or whatever it was down
Yeah,
the stairs. It's
exactly.
gonna be dripping.
And
Unless it
and
was
this is
2 people. Did one kill the stepmother and the other kill the father?
it's possible. Yeah, it's absolutely possible. And yeah, I agree, girlie. She must have been sore. And I mean, it's this common thing with stabbing, right? When
Mhm,
someone is doing a frenzied knife attack on someone, they commonly injure themselves because I don't know, their hands slide down the knife, kind of they
mhm,
become sweaty or wet with the blood, and they lose grip and they slip down the knife and cut their own hands. Um, Accidents happen all the time.
mhm,
So yeah, I completely agree. I would be amazed uh, if she did not injure herself. Um, Rathwell, Cassie didn't. We did talk about this earlier, didn't we? We speculated that
mhm,
she killed him naked to explain no blood on her clothes, but that still wouldn't explain things like how did she get the blood out of her hair?
mhm,
Because I would envisage that going everywhere, especially with blows to the neck, because you've got some major veins in the neck.
mhm. Well, the anything
Um,
on the head just bleeds
Arteries.
profusely.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, the head, neck, and the extremities can really kind of and any where the arteries are, they spurt blood. Um, so that would be going everywhere.
Mhm.
I would,
Yeah,
I would imagine, unless she's completely missed those points. But I think I'd find that because there's two major blood vessels in the neck,
mhm.
and
Well, the way they described the dad's head alone.
oh yeah, well there wasn't
Mhm,
much left of his face.
mhm,
But with the stepmom, a lot of her injuries were to the neck, and I find it impossible to believe that she didn't, because the blood vessels are not deep. The neck is quite a small area. Um, the blood vessels are not deep. Um, that's why you know, like slitting a throat or something is quite easy to do.
mhm,
I'm not advocating for it here. I'm just saying, you know, it's an easy thing to do because, um, like other blood vessels, big major blood vessels are quite deep, like in the
mhm.
chest and the abdomen. But in the neck, they're not too far
Surface.
from the surface. You quite when you are trying to protect yourself, you usually put your hand, put your head down, or because you are trying to protect your neck because that is one of the
Mm,
most vulnerable areas. If someone's going at it with an axe, if I can't see how they would have avoided nicking one of those blood vessels, and there would
mhm.
be blood everywhere. It would be impossible.
Yeah, and the running water, even that's even I mean, can you imagine
Exactly.
how much water you would have to have? Now you've gotta haul this water in, presumably from a well or something. You don't have a drain for it to.
Yeah,
So if you're washing up in a bucket, that bucket's gonna be overcome with blood very, very quickly. Where are you gonna
exactly.
dispose of this bucket of blood? And it's gonna
Yeah,
stop cleaning, it's gonna be smearing blood back all over you in no time if you're that bloody. I just don't see where this cleanup could have happened.
exactly. And even if she was on a period, just to kind of
That's not gonna the
that's
amount of
not gonna
blood.
cover the amount of blood here, right? Because
No.
if women bled at that level for a week every month for, a few decades, we would not be functioning. We wouldn't. Even
Yeah,
you have to be in you have to have quite heavy periods for a
yeah,
prolonged period of time to even become anemic, let alone produce enough blood in one afternoon to, cover up a couple of
mm,
murders. Do you
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
So I don't know. And I, again, that wouldn't explain. Period blood would not explain why it's in her hair either.
No.
I really don't think there's anything she could have come up with for that.
And where did she wait for that 90 minutes? That she wasn't
Yeah.
tracking all over the place. Even if she did it naked. She's
Yeah.
there are 90 minutes in between the murders because the father wasn't home. He was somewhere else, and then he comes home. And
yeah.
but so 90 minutes you're going to sit around covered in somebody else's blood. Where are you going to go that you're not making a mess of yourself with? And that's for anybody. That's for anybody. Like where were they
Although,
in those
if
90?
we're turning this slightly on its head, just to play a bit of devil's advocate here, there's another way this could have played out where actually she could have been guilty. As people in chat are rightly suggesting, well, was there water around? I didn't see anything about water around, but
We need to look, right?
let's think about that. Yeah, maybe there was. So, if she did the stepmother's first, right? Then plausibly she could go and clean herself off, then come back in the house and then wipe down door handles and the floors and things, because it would have been very unlikely to have been carpeted floors anyway. So they would have been wipeable, the doorknobs would have been wipeable, etc., etc. And then she's the obvious blood would have been gone, like fingerprints and footprints. And that 90 minutes would give her that window to do that if there was something she could wash herself in somewhere. And then her father went to sleep downstairs. So, then she could come in, hatchet to the face a few times, and then leave without creating the same level of mess. Like she's not having to get up and down the stairs and navigate through several rooms, because he's already downstairs and she's already done the cleanup in that 90 minutes. Again, is plausible.
Okay, so the river that it's named for, Fall River, but it's 3.7 miles from her home. And it says that's a 7-minute drive. Well, they didn't have cars. So
No, they had, what was it,
she would have
horse
had to have
carts.
walked 3.7 miles dripping blood. That does not seem plausible.
Could not have done that in 90 minutes, got back to murder her father as well.
No. And I mean, she would have been seen by absolutely everybody.
Yeah. I think so. I think so too. I think it's one of those things where we're never really, maybe she wore an apron, possible. These things are all possible. But if the maid was outside cleaning, wouldn't she have a bucket of water? Again, these are just thought processes. Kirsty, are you with us still? I feel like we've lost her.
Oh, are you?
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I'm here. Now, I was looking at the map and trying to sort this out. Yeah,
Oh,
it does. I was looking to see, is there a little like stream off of the river?
it's curious. I mean, would they have stored water somewhere? Like a water butt, that kind of thing. A barrel? But then they should have tainted the entire barrel.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It blood overwhelms the water very quickly.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah, because you put literally one drop in a pool of water, that spreads very quickly.
No, she's not close to the water. Not in terms of being able to walk and clean yourself twice, once after
Yeah.
each murder, and not be seen. Because this is, yeah.
Maybe it was something to do with the two men who were waving axes at each other then.
Yeah, I feel like I've talked myself out of her guilt now. I don't know.
Well, it is when you sit and really think about it, it's actually what you listen to all the circumstantial evidence, you're like, "Yeah, it's gotta be her." But when you actually put together the dynamics of what she would have had to do,
Mhm. You have to
I
stop
I
thinking
I
about
I
it in
think
terms of life as we know it now, how
yeah,
convenient we
I
could
think
wash
it's
up.
I think it's incredibly hard for her to say she did it. I'm struggling with it.
Mhm. But then where was she when it was happening?
I don't know. She was
And
in the
what would
house.
be the motive of this shaking axe man?
Well, he could have
It's
been deranged. People
yeah.
killed for, out of all kinds of, mental health illnesses or past traumas. They didn't have to actually gain
Mhm.
anything like money or anything like that.
But if she's in the house and a deranged man comes in and kills one and then hangs around for 90 minutes and kills another, but she's been in the house the whole time, but
I
he
know,
doesn't
I'm struggling
it's
with that. Maybe he killed one and she was, like, curious and killed the other.
yeah, I don't know.
I think it's gonna be one of these sort of things that we'll never really know.
Mhm.
But it's fun going at it with curiosity. They did what? Is that for one woman? That's more than sufficient.
Yeah, I wish they had talked about her relationship with her father.
Yeah. And with the brother as well. Do you know
Yeah, because it was the brother of her actual mother, so it wasn't
oh, no, not
relation.
the uncle, the
Yeah.
illegitimate child of her
Oh,
dad.
you mean the, what's that word? What's that word? That he was the son that was
Well, we call them bastards.
yeah, what is the word they said?
Illegitimate.
Illegitimate, that's it.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about him.
We don't know anything about him. We don't know enough about the uncle either.
Mhm. So was, if in terms of the illegitimate son, was the stepmother not allowing him to provide any kind of financial assistance and he was angry? I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
What's the story? Who's his mother? How did, how old was he? Where did he come about? Was he before? Was he like in between the two wives? Was he conceived in between the two wives when that I would like to know
This is
more
it.
about
Was
him as
he conceived during one of the marriages?
Yeah, could have been as well.
He
Yeah.
sounds like he might have been younger, possibly,
Mhm.
than the girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He wouldn't have inherited, so there was no financial motive because he wouldn't have inherited anything.
So,
But
but
was there some kind of resentment for,
that's
you
what I'm
know,
wondering. Did the stepmom did was he in a relationship with this guy's mom and the stepmom came and
mm,
wrecked that and left him fatherless like that? Because back then that the stigma was real for those kind of people.
yeah. Well, exactly. But back then also, especially, I mean, it was down to the men if they wanted something to do with their illegitimate sons. It's like Henry VIII had an illegitimate son.
Mhm.
Um, he had his 2 daughters, and then he had his son, who went on to become the king after him, King Edward.
Mhm.
Um, but he also had, an illegitimate son, I wanna say William, his name was William. Um, and he had contact with that son. They had a good friendship and, a good relationship. He wasn't, afforded all the rights of being a legitimate son, and he would never have inherited the crown. But he had a title and he had estates and things from his father. So it was very much a man's choice of whether to be involved with illegitimate children in their lives and what part they played. We don't know how much of a relationship there was there. Oh.
Well, he killed himself in 1901.
Oh, did he? Oh, yes, he did. That was only not not long away after the murders. Less than 10 years. Kenya says, I've been to Lizzie Borden house in Fall River. Oh, she didn't stay overnight, but they offer the experience as a bed and breakfast. I just did the tour. Oh, that does sound like fun. Neil, he was not her illegitimate son. I think they were lovers or something. I think that she fancied him, something like that. I don't know.
So there's a group of conspiracy theorists that think that Lizzie paid him to do it.
The brother?
Yeah. I don't know what kind of evidence they have for that, though.
Yeah.
But there's a forum called the Lizzie Borden Society Forum, and there's a long conversation with people posting. Yeah, who knows?
Well, we should join that.
Take all of our evidence and say we saw
our court transcript.
Yeah.
So about breakfast, I wonder if you stay overnight, right, in the bed and breakfast. I wonder if that's what they give you for breakfast. I'm really
mutton and
I'm
Johnny
so drawn in now on this breakfast.
I mean, if they don't, they're missing a huge opportunity.
I know, right? You could really recreate all of this, like not all of it, but like
make sure there's bananas on the table.
Yeah, it could be like an immersive experience.
Oh, I've got 4 bananas that have seen better days. I need to make some banana bread with. Speaking of bananas.
And don't forget the bananas on the table.
Yep, I've got 4 bananas on the island. I'm gonna make some banana bread with.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, me. Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have.
Still talking about Lizzie Borden.
No. I have some bananas that once they get to a certain point, when they get the little freckles on them, and I know they're going to be a little soft, I can't. The texture is too much for me, so they become banana bread. But well, I'm going to have to go. We've been on for 2 hours and 17 minutes.
I know, right? I was like, oh, this is only going to take an hour, but like that was really quite immersive, actually, and I liked the little back and forth with the transcript. That was great.
Yeah, and going like it just opens up more questions after you read the stuff. It really does.
I know.
I guess
I didn't expect that. I was convinced I was going to be swayed one way or the other, but I'm not.
Me too. But yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for joining.
This was really good, and it was nice to get away from, the regular trial just to do something different. Next week, like I say, we've got Jack the Ripper prepared. It's actually a really good one, and I love that story. But again, there will be probably more graphic crime scene photos in that one. But you're joining me next week, yeah?
Sure, yeah. Wait, next week I might be back in Ireland next week. I'm not sure.
Okay, let me know, because we can work it around
a different day.
We can do a different day.
I don't have the date sorted yet, and I probably won't know till like a day or two before is the unfortunate thing. But I will be here either on Monday or Friday. I don't know which yet. So we might still be able to do. But I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, let me know, because I can move. I've obviously got my Friday Q&A with DFJ, but I can move that if needs be. But you already told me that you might have to change the day, so that's not a problem.
Yeah, I won't consistently, because now that my knee is good enough, I'll be back to traveling like I used to before my surgery. Yeah. I
No,
got
it's fine.
accused of because people didn't people in this group of subscribers are mostly from the Blake people, so they didn't know me before my surgery when I was always traveling, like at least once a month. So somebody said that I'm going live just to get money to take international trips.
I saw that.
I was like, go look at my Instagram or my Twitter. You'll know this was the only reason I wasn't until now was because I couldn't, because my knee wasn't up to that. But this was always my life, and I used to be more open about why, but after the likes of Kat Ortega, I deleted a lot of stuff that I had previously on my X and my Instagram, and I don't talk about why I do it. But yeah, it's a shame, but
it is. I
that's the
have been
way.
down the Kat Ortega route myself. It's an
And
experience.
he's not alone by any stretch. I mean, we
I
both know.
No, we're not. And honestly, if you think that this whole Lizzie Borden experience is creepy, try the Kat Ortega one. That's creepy. Do you know what? One of my mods, she's designing my merch, and she was like, "What if we did one called 'Don't Feed the Cat' with a K for the cat?" I was like, "No, we can't. It's a great idea, and I'd probably do it just for myself, but I can't do that because that's good." But
but I mean, when you're having to change your name and I'm having to change the name of my LLC,
just to avoid her,
that costs like 100 and what was it, 139 or something like that.
Yeah. Well, do you know it cost me less than 30 quid to change my name, but that's just that's just over here. But that's still an expense I didn't have to incur.
Exactly.
And who says I wanted to change my name?
Yeah. So,
it's an inconvenience now because I've got to update so much.
It wouldn't work here anyway because it's so easy to search newspapers, and here it's required that you put it in the paper. So it would make me easier to be found, actually. So
we don't have to do that over here because we got like these because of the gender ideology laws and everything, like before the Supreme Court ruling certainly, but changing a name by deed poll is so easy. It's literally it would be more complicated for me to sit and pick my nose. That's like it sounds bad, but it is official. I can change my passport and everything, but literally all I need is 2 witnesses and to fill in an online form which they send to me, and then it's signed by 2 witnesses.
Wow.
That's that. Depending on where you get your deed poll from, some places only want 1 witness. The place I did mine wanted 2 witnesses. But as long as it's signed in the presence of a suitable person, and I'm not related or anything to the witnesses, it is all completely legal and above board, and that's an official document now I can use, and it's as simple as that. But thank God I had that, though. Otherwise, I would have had to file in my own name.
Yeah.
Which would have been awful because
I had to move things around with name. I mean, it was ridiculous, and then it was, and it made me mad. It made me so mad.
No, I don't blame you. Don't blame me because we're not being kind of over the top here. There is literally a screenshot of a message where she is admitting to actively watching Pacer to check out people's real names. So she can make notes and put notices up about them. That's happening.
and talk of police and all kinds of ridiculous. I would love to see her actually call a police and say something like that. Can you find this on YouTube that said this
I'd
about
love her to call the police as well, because I really don't think the LAPD are going to bother themselves with me.
They've got so serious crime to worry about. The last thing they're gonna care about is some nonsense of somebody on YouTube that said something about the Reddit account. It's absolutely insane, and the fact that she thinks that that's a legit threat that's gonna scare somebody, it's if that woman is an attorney, I mean, my gosh, that's terrifying because that's just so stupid.
Yes.
If an actual attorney is going to the LAPD saying this anonymous person on YouTube is talking about my Reddit account, God save us if that woman's in charge of anybody's legal representation.
Do you know, right? The funniest thing is she's running around with a LinkedIn account which is not mine, has been proven by the police to not be my account, telling people it's proof of something I've said, done, whatever, whilst moaning that she's not who the LinkedIn account I found for her. She's saying, "Well, that's not me." And it's just the irony of, "Oh, hold on. Okay, it's not you. I'm fine with that. Are you gonna now shut up about the LinkedIn account you think is mine?"
Mm,
No, she's not.
wow.
Double
It's so bizarre.
standards.
It's really the other thing, if she's an attorney, which I have my doubts because it's just so insane, she would know you can't be doing this stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
she
I
should
don't know.
know it,
You should know, right?
but that's the operative word. I mean, I know she's an attorney. I do know that much, but it's wild that
Yeah.
she's behaving the way she does. But,
Mhm.
you know,
Or even has the time to do. Like,
well, yeah.
do you have no cases? Do you have no clients? Do you have no court dates? Do you I mean, how are you able to
You're not
live on
getting billed for this time?
Yeah, yeah. How
Oh,
does nobody know that you're sitting in an office doing this? It's just very, very strange. Or why do you want to do this if you're an attorney? It's very, very strange. I don't know. Well, I better get off here.
okie dokie. Well, thank you so
Thanks
much. I
for
really enjoyed this. This was
Yeah,
different, and I like it.
yeah. Thanks you guys so much for joining.
Yes, thank you, chat. Really enjoyed that. And we will see you at some point next week with Jack the Ripper. And if Cassie, if you can't make it, it's not a problem.
Okay.
I'll continue anyway and bring it, but
Okay.
hopefully we can fit it in around your time.
Yeah, hopefully. All right. If not, I'll
Yeah.
watch when I can. So,
And
all
thank you
right.
to Lara and Christina for taking care of the
Yes,
chat
thank
for us.
you. You guys are amazing.
Yes, they are.
Well, have a
Absolutely.
good night, everyone. I don't know how to turn this off when I'm on someone else's stream. Do I just log out?
Yeah, you just log out.
Let's close my tab because I don't.
Yeah.
When I'm live, there's a thing for me to end the live, but I don't see one here. So I guess I
No, I think you just head
just close my tab.
out. I'll end the stream.
Or okay. All right.
Okay. Right.
All
Good
right.
night, everyone.